Good evening. It's the 21st night of September. Our top stories. 9 anglers missing in Muka sunken boat incident. Gas explosion injured 3 in Bintulu. And Sarawak braces for northeast monsoon season. Hello everyone, you're now with me, Douglas Elliott, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. 9 anglers are still missing and feared drown after the boat reportedly sank in the waters of Muka on Wednesday. As of the time of reporting, only 2 victims were safe and found by rescue personnel. We were informed that Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency is still gathering information while pending an activation for a search and rescue operation. Meanwhile, in Bintulu, an exploded liquefied petroleum gas LPG cylinder at a cafe in Bintulu nearly claimed the lives of 3 of its workers. The Wednesday afternoon incident, which left the 3 victims to sustain burn injuries, was believed to be caused by a gas leak. Bintulu Fire Station Chief Christus Buson said the explosion also damaged the premise and shattered the glass windows and doors of the cafe.
Setiba di lokasi kejadian pada jam lebih kurang pukul 2.54 petang, pasukan kami dimaklumkan bahawa kejadian hanya melibatkan letupan gas LPG di bahagian dapur kedai makan 900 Kef Tanjung Batu. Letupan itu telah menyebabkan beberapa bahagian cermin, kaca dan siling mengalami kerosakan. Dan kebakaran kecil di bahagian dapur premis kedai.
He added 2 of the victims suffered level 1 burns on the face, while an Indonesian worker suffered level 2 burns and was sent to Nyaba Hospital for further treatment. The operation ended at 3:40 p.m. after confirming that everything was safe and under control. Preparations are in place to face the upcoming northeast monsoon season, expected to hit Sarawak from December this year to January next year. Bringing with it heavy rain and thunderstorms, Sarawak Disaster Management Committee SDMC on Wednesday met with the relevant departments and government bodies on preparations for the annual phenomenon. Its chairman, Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Umbas, said 310 flood hotspot locations had been identified statewide by the Fire and Rescue Department. SDMC also identifies 97 locations where road links are most susceptible to be cut off, with Cebu having the lion's share at 42. Some 631 evacuation centers capable of accommodating 188,360 evacuees have also been identified. Over 1,590 officers will also be on standby during the period, with enforcement from over 9,000-strong Bomba community team members. Logistics-wise, Bomba is readying 48 boats, 16 lorries, 87 four-wheel vehicles, and a helicopter. During today's meeting, Uga also thanked the Sultan of Johor, His Royal Highness Sultan Ibrahim Ismail, for donating 6,400 pieces of tents to SDMC. The modernization of agriculture and regional development MANRED has been officially renamed as the Ministry of Food Industries, Commodities and Regional Development, effective today, September 21st. Such a move reflects the new focus of the ministry on commercialization of agriculture and cooperation with all the newly established regional development agencies. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, said the renaming of the ministry helmed by Dr. Stephen Rundi Uttam was made as Sarawak is moving towards sustainable agriculture with a focus of not only producing food but embracing new farming technology as well.
Because agriculture is too important to us, I have decided to change the name of this ministry under Stephen Rundi, a hard-working minister with certain vision, to Ministry of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development.
He said so when officiating at the opening ceremony of the Congress on Sustainable Agriculture and Food Security at a hotel in Kuching yesterday, September 20th. Abang Johari noted that the function of the ministry remains the same, which focuses on commodities. He added that the agriculture sector has to be redefined as sustainable agriculture, in which it embraces and adopts the latest technology across the whole chain of food production.
Technology is the key. Agriculture cannot be seen as a poor man's job. With the local people called Changkol, with the hoe, with the hand, and difficult and susah punya muka. That is what farming is all about. So we have to change the perception.
Meanwhile, Minister of Food Industries, Commodities and Regional Development, Dato Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Anak Utom said agriculture processes in the state need to be transformed by building the necessary infrastructure to enable Internet of Things IoT applications to be deployed. And at the same time, he said that the application of modern technology and IoT will also transform conventional practices to promote sustainable food production systems and resilient agricultural practices among food producers.
My ministry is confident that the NAP, the National Agro-Food Policy 2021 and 2030, NAP 2.0, by the Agriculture and Food Industry Ministry, that the vision that they have formulated to develop a sustainable, resilient, and technology-based agro-food sector in driving economic growth, improving the well-being of people of Sarawak, and prioritizing food security and nutrition.
Under the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy PCDS 2030, the agriculture sector has been identified as one of the engines of growth that will help propel Sarawak toward a developed and high-income state.
Mozzarella cheese is typically made with the milk of buffaloes and is usually associated with Italian cuisines. Having such resources, Sarawak is poised of becoming the pioneer for halal cheese in Borneo by 2030. Minister of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development, Dato Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Uttam said the state government has allocated 15 million ringgit for the purpose of constructing a buffalo cheese processing factory in Lawas in the third quarter of 2024. He added that this project would position Sarawak as one of the leading halal agro-food and processing hub in the region that reflects the attractiveness of the region's economy for global investors. With a large market and strong regional integration, Sarawak aims to become a major investors' destination.
Jadi daripada pertanian ini kita berhasrat untuk menghasilkan iaitu ternakan kerbau mengeluarkan cheese dipanggil mozzarella, nama cantik. Jadi cheese ini akan dipasarkan melalui investor pun sudah ada accessibility market mereka semua. Ini memandangkan di kawasan Maragang ini sangat sesuai untuk kerbau. Dan orang-orang sekitaran tersebut iaitu small holders atau small farmers telah pun dari masa-masa lampau hingga kini sudah ada tetapi secara kecil-kecilan. Sekarang mungkin ada lebih kurang 6,000 ekor, 7,000 ekor kerbau yang diusahakan oleh lebih kurang 600 orang di kawasan ini.
He said this after witnessing the Memorandum of Understanding between State Farmers Organisation Sarawak PPNS and Green Valley Sendirian Berhad. The agreement was inked by PPNS Chairman Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail and Green Valley Sendirian Berhad Chief Executive Officer Dr. Raja Imran Shah on Wednesday. According to Dr. Rundi, the main purpose of the collaboration is to enhance the public's way of life and the economy in the rural areas through agricultural activities based on innovation and commercialization strategies. At the same time, his Deputy Minister Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail said the government has privatized 3 ruminant livestock stations in Sarawak to focus on the efforts to increase the involvement of private sectors. He also said that currently, the 3 stations are the Tumudok Livestock Station in Sri Aman for the production of goat breeds, Karabungan Livestock Station in Miri for the production of quality cattle breeds, and Marigan Livestock Station in Lawas for the production of quality buffalo. The state government is committed to its bid toward a low-carbon state in line with the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals proposed by the United Nations. The matter was expressed by the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, during the Asia Flux Gala Dinner at Trophy headquarters in Kota Semarahan on Tuesday.
Sarawak has recently amended its Forest Ordinance 2050 to regulate forest carbon activities in line with efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change under the Paris Agreement. The state is thereby creating a solid foundation, leveraging on a market mechanism and stakeholders' collaboration towards environmental sustainability.
This includes from the point of view of the state's government's administrative policy that pays attention to environmental, social and governance issue (ESG) through the proposed implementation of green technology and new energy sources. Adding to that, it is also in line with the objectives of the post-COVID-19 Development Strategy Action Plan that emphasize environmental sustainability.
We are very proud to announce that Sarawak maybe is the first state in Malaysia that has enacted laws. The first state in Malaysia that has enacted laws to permit activities related to carbon and nature venture businesses. This is the testament to Sarawak efforts to be at the forefront of climate change mitigation.
Also present were the Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, Asia Flux 2022 Chairman Dr. Luli Meling, and 20 delegations from China, Estonia, Hong Kong, Germany, Indonesia, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, United States, and Malaysia. The conference served as an avenue for researchers from all over the world to share knowledge on green technology and climate change issues, as well as the alternatives in technology and new energy sources. Also presented during the event were the Young Scientist Award and the Best Fellow Award.
About 3,000 senior citizens are attempting to enter the Malaysian Book of Records through the We United in Health Mass Aerobics program that takes place simultaneously in 12 parts of Sarawak in conjunction with the Sarawak State Level National Seniors Day 2022. Team the Resilience and Contribution of Senior Citizens. It will take place at Naim Bintulu Paragon Street Mall in Bintulu. Minister of Women, Early Childhood and Community Wellbeing Development Sarawak, Dr. Sri Fatima Abdullah said the event aims to raise awareness of the challenges of an aging nation. The focus on those preparations will be in the aspects of a senior citizen's health, economy, welfare, and safety as a way to provide them with a peaceful, happy, and harmonious life. Varieties of activities will be held like folks sports, seniors got talent, fitness routines, including tree planting activities in all 12 divisions in Sarawak to support the government's initiative in making the 100 million Greening Malaysia program a success.
So the location of this year's Senior Citizen Day will be held at Naim Bintulu Paragon Street Mall at Bintulu, Sarawak, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports and Youth in Bintulu branch. So it is hoped that the implementation of Senior Citizen Day for this year will be able to bring awareness for the senior community in our state and can strengthen relationship between the senior community and other people in our other members of the community in line with the intergenerational concept that is to be applied in the future. My name is Diana Jayasilan with videographer Fikri Raza. Report from TVS.
Miri will be the host of the Maulidul Rasul celebration at the Sarawak level on October 9th and 10th. Sarawak Islamic Council President Datu Misnu Taha said a total of 10,000 visitors are expected to attend this celebration.
Dan insyaAllah pada 9 bulan berjaya kesyukuran dan 9 bulan dan pada 10 bulan berjaya sepakat perhimpunan Pakan Maulid Rasul di Stadium Terbuka Miri. We expect at least around 5 to 10,000, and we have invited a lot of agencies divided into, I was informed, around 8 sections, and will be handled by the resident Amiri and the Director of Datuk Agama.
He said so after a courtesy visit to the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud in Demak Jaya. Elaborating further, the purpose of the visit is to invite Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud and his wife, Toh Puan Datuk Patinggi Ragat Krudi Taib, to grace the event.
Right, still to come, lawmakers to meet on death penalty's fate, and Putin mobilizes more troops for Ukraine. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Lawmakers from both divides met in Parliament to discuss the decision on the abolition of the mandatory death penalty. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Parliament and Law, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said the engagement session, among others, discussed on alternative sentences for 11 offences that carry the mandatory death penalty, as well as 23 offences carrying the death penalty at the discretion of the court. Wan Junaidi said the engagement session was a good start towards ensuring smooth presentation of all the amendments to the relevant acts in the coming Parliament sitting. Wan Junaidi said part of the input and views from the MPs and the representatives will be implemented in the further research, which includes issues related to life imprisonment and whipping. Additionally, the moratorium status on execution of 1,337 inmates currently on death row was also discussed. On June 8th, the government agreed in principle to abolish the mandatory death penalty and to substitute it with other sentences which are subject to the discretion of the court. The cabinet has agreed to recruit 10,000 workers from Sri Lanka after taking into account the state of the country after it was hit by the current economic crisis. Human Resources Minister Dato Sri M. Saravanan said that the Sri Lankan government has to submit an official application to supply such manpower.
Last September 14, the cabinet at its meeting agreed on the hiring of Sri Lankan workers to help Sri Lanka facing the worst economic crisis. Saravanan urged that Malaysian industries and employers support the government's good intentions for sectors that are allowed to hire foreign workers. He also added that employers who have given a quota approval and have settled the levy payment must seize the opportunity. Any company keen on hiring foreign workers are advised to contact the Ministry's Migrant Worker Management Division or the Peninsular Malaysia Labour Department via email for more information.
Former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak and son, Dato Muhammad Nazifuddin, today obtained an order to stay the execution of a summary judgment entered against them over unpaid income tax amounting to more than 1.7 billion ringgit pending disposal of the appeals in the federal court. The order was granted by a three-member bench comprising Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat and Federal Court judges Dato Mary Lim Tiam Swan and Dato Rosaria Bujang.
Earlier, lawyer Muhammad Farhan Muhammad Shafi, representing Najib and Muhammad Nazifuddin, told the bench that the Inland Revenue Board, or RRB, as the respondent, did not object to the application by both his clients. This was confirmed by Senior Revenue Counsel Al-Humidallah Idrus, representing the IRB. In 2020, two separate high courts allowed the IRB's applications to enter a summary judgment to recover tax arrears of 1.69 billion ringgit from Najib and 37.6 million ringgit from Nazifuddin for the period between 2011 and 2017. On May 10 this year, Najib and Nazifuddin were given the nod by the federal court to proceed with their appeals against the decisions of two high courts in allowing the IRB's application to enter a summary judgment to recover more than 1.7 billion ringgit in tax arrears from them. Both Najib and Nazifuddin lost their appeals in the Court of Appeal last September to set aside the summary judgment. Meanwhile, a summary judgment is obtained when the court decides on a case through written submissions, without a full trial and without calling witnesses.
You're watching TVS Nightline. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday announced a partial military mobilization, its first since World War II, as Russian forces battle a Ukrainian counteroffensive that has regained some occupied territory. In a televised address, Putin said the partial mobilization of its 2 million-strong military reserves was to defend Russia.
считаю необходимым поддержать предложение Министерства обороны и Генерального штаба о проведении в Российской Федерации частичной мобилизации. Повторю, речь идет именно о частичной мобилизации. Указ о частичной мобилизации подписан.
According to the decree, Russian citizens aged between 18 and 50 fall under military mobilization, and they will be paid as much as the military personnel serving under contract. Only citizens who have already served in the army, have some military experience, and are currently in reserve will be subject to conscription, and all mobilized people will undergo additional military training. The move comes a day after the announcement of referendums in Russian-controlled Ukrainian regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and parts of Zaporizhia to become a part of Russia this weekend. Putin said that the West had also engaged in nuclear blackmail, but Russia had lots of weapons to reply, and that he was not bluffing. Putin on February 24th ordered what he calls a special military operation in Ukraine to root out dangerous nationalists in the country. The war has killed thousands, destroyed cities, and sent millions fleeing their homes in the former Soviet Republic. A man set himself on fire near the Japanese Prime Minister's office on Wednesday in protest to the government's decision to hold a state funeral for the assassinated former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Japanese media reported that the 70-year-old man had deliberately doused himself in oil and lit himself up and collapsed with severe burns to his entire body.
A police officer who tried to extinguish the fire that enveloped the man was also injured. However, police declined to confirm the incident. They also found a letter about Abe's state funeral, and the word "I strongly oppose it" was written nearby the flame man. Opposing to the state funeral has been growing due to the revelations regarding Abe's ruling party, Liberal Democratic Party or LDP, connections to the controversial Unification Church. The suspect who shot Abe blamed him for supporting the organization that bankrupted his mother. The state funeral for the Japan's longest-serving premier is set for September 27th with 6,000 from Japan and overseas.
The 48-hour global hackathon event, known as the NASA Space Apps Challenge, is back this year in October. And thousands of participants in cities around the world will work with NASA's open-source data to answer some of the most pressing challenges on Earth and in space. With this year's theme of Make Space, it challenges participants to be curious and change the world for the better. And tomorrow on Sejahtera Asia, hosts Sharon Kezia and Alexson will be joined by the organizers of NASA Space Apps Sarawak, 7:45 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news update both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our official website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. My name is Douglas Elliott. Thank you for watching.